Greetings, seekers of knowledge, and welcome to another episode of Embracing the Paradox, home of the deranged, the supernatural, and all things that go bump in the night. True crime, urban lore, we have it all for you right here. I, of course, am Distal Marrow, your trusty guide into parts unknown, and I am asking you once again to let me take you on a journey. If this is your first time visiting and you'd like to support the show, please make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. Today, we're letting a modern-day trending news story take us into a deep dive on a character that I'm sure all of my listeners are more than well aware of. The perfectly spectacular, thin, unnaturally tall humanoid with a featureless white head and face, who dons a black suit, stalking and disappearing children with seemingly no pattern indicating rhyme or reason. This episode, as you've now undoubtedly guessed, is of course focused on the mysterious internet villain known as the Slender Man. Created in 2009 as a creepypasta internet meme by Something Awful forum user Eric Knudsen, or Victor Surge as he is known to some, the Slender Man didn't take long to become an intense subject of internet lore and urban legend. The idea was simple yet frightening. An internet competition took place that encouraged users to create a creepy Photoshop meme, which in turn inspired Knudsen to bring to life his creation. That was based on the works of Stephen King, Zach Parsons, and Don Coscarelli. Like wildfire, Knudsen's frightening photographs, oftentimes innocuous images with the tall, mysterious figure hidden in the background, began to gain popularity and develop a lore. Netizens went into a frenzy, creating their own Slender Man stories. The stories and motives of the character varied, but the image of the Slender Man itself has remained iconic and relatively unchanged over the years. Since his creation, he has found himself the subject of various media, the most popular of which likely being the internet web series sensation Marble Hornets, a haunting found footage series released just 10 days after Knudsen's original photo, and lasting until 2014 with 3 seasons and 97 episodes, accumulating 250,000 subscribers and 55 million views throughout its run. Regardless of anybody's opinion on the character itself, the Slender Man left an inarguably indelible mark on internet meme culture, storytelling, and even the real world. Which brings us to the true nature of this topic today. The devastating real-life tragedy that occurred in Waukesha, Wisconsin on May 31st, 2014, when 12-year-old girls Anissa Weier and Morgan Geyser lured their classmate Peyton Leitner into the woods, where they proceeded to stab her 19 times, leaving her alone to die before she was able to miraculously crawl out of the woods and onto the road, where she was spotted by a bicyclist who called for help. And by nothing short of a miracle, she managed to survive. Shortly after, both Weier and Geyser were arrested and questioned, where they both blamed the brutal attack on Slender Man, claiming they believed their families would be murdered by the mythical entity if they didn't perform a sacrifice, with Geyser being recorded stating she had hoped to live with him after the incident. Both girls were diagnosed with serious mental illness, but were charged as sane adults, facing up to 65 years of prison time. Later, both girls were found to be mentally incompetent to stand trial and receive separate sentences, both being ordered to receive hospitalization and treatment well into their adult years. As adults, both women were later granted supervised release, Weier in 2021 and Geyser in 2025. On November 22nd of this year, Geyser brought Slender Man back into the headlines when she cut off her electronic monitor device and escaped from her group home in Wisconsin. She was found the next Sunday in Posen, Illinois, at a truck stop about 170 miles away. Unsuspecting police were alerted to 2 youths sleeping outside by a store employee who simply wanted to see if they could find shelter for the night. Police questioned Geyser, who didn't want to give her name, and received the shock of a lifetime when they realized who they had in custody. Geyser has since been returned to Wisconsin. Now, when this originally came to light, this vicious scenario caused a panic nationwide, as parents and government officials warned of Slender Man and the dangers of the internet. Just like what had been done with music, movies, literature, video games, and just about any other kind of art, blame was now being placed on Slender Man and internet culture. Potential violence and subsequent deviant acts by use were often supposedly linked to the character. This was further explored in a 2016 documentary, Beware the Slender Man, in which these concerns were addressed from both sides and remained a fierce topic of conversation, until the character faded further and further into obscurity after the heavily maligned 2018 feature going by the titular name. Now, back to the topic at hand. Morgan Geyser's father was a diagnosed schizophrenic who had been hospitalized at least 4 times as a teenager. And it seems more and more likely that Morgan herself has a similar illness that had previously gone untreated, which honestly makes me feel a little bit sad for her. I'm not saying it condones her actions, but I do believe parents should pay attention to early warning signs in their children, especially when at least one of them has been diagnosed with something so severe. Watching Morgan in early interviews and then seeing her in the recent police footage from this past November makes it look like she's stunted and hasn't been able to move past that period of time in her life. Without letting her off the hook, I do wish that her parents had been more adamant in seeking out treatment. She obviously needed it, and maybe this wouldn't have gone as far as it did if she'd had access to it. I don't know, maybe not. What I do know is that I'm not a fan of blaming pop culture on real-life violence. A bit too satanic panic for me, but I know that others might not agree. What do you think? Do you think that fiction is to blame for real-life violence? Do you think it's lack of treatment for mental health? Or maybe, just maybe, are you one of the few that believes that Slender Man is more than just an internet sensation? That he's real and he's out there? Let me know in the comments below. And now for my favorite part of the show. We are going to be taking some live calls from our premium listeners to hear your theories and feedback. First up, we have Pandemonium. Hi, Pandemonium. You're on live with Embracing the Paradox.
Hey, Distal. Thanks for having me back.
It's good to hear from you.
So, let's get down to it. Every generation picks something new to blame. We had violent video games when Columbine happened. This generation has the internet. It's a bunch of bullshit.
I agree. You're right.
We need to talk about the real issue. That's the lack of mental health care that these children are getting. I mean, living with Slenderman, what the hell was she thinking? A happy little Slenderman life with happy little slender children?
That slender children. Oh gosh. I hope she wasn't planning some romance with Slender Man, but I guess, yeah, maybe. Wow, that's an interesting thought. Little slender baby. Oh, anyway, you're correct about the mental health treatment, though, in this country. Like, absolutely, more infrastructure needs to be put in place. Thank you for bringing up that point.
Or we could even blame the parents.
We could blame the parents. You know, things are nuanced, but I think that maybe something more should have been done there. Absolutely, yeah.
If you got schizophrenia running in the family, why aren't these kids getting help? And now we get to blame Slenderman of all things?
Right, yeah. Oh, right. Well, thank you so much for calling. It's always so good to hear from you. Such good insight into the topics every time. Thank you so much. Okay, that was a great call that we had. Good start. Next up we have Tilius Mitch. All right, Tilius, you're on live with Embracing the Paradox.
Hi, Distal. Thanks for allowing me to be on the show.
Thank you so much for calling.
Oh, absolutely. I've been trying to get on for a little bit, so it's nice to finally be here.
Oh, I'm happy you made it.
Look, with all due respect, because I do love the show and I've enjoyed your deep dives in the past, I think that this thing that you're doing, not necessarily about Slender Man himself, but about Morgan Geyser, about the teenagers involved, is pretty disrespectful to the real-world issue that we're experiencing right now. I mean, so some of the deep dives you've done in the past, you're talking about killers who have long been dead. You were talking about years that have gone by in between, but we're talking about a decade here where the victim is still alive, the killers are still alive, and they're receiving media attention. Aren't you scared that maybe you might be glorifying them a little bit?
Well, I don't think that they're like one of these serial killers, say like BTK, who reveled in getting media attention. I don't think that that was a thought in either of these girls' heads. So I don't agree that we're glorifying them. Also, I believe that we stuck to the facts and have handled it very respectfully. So I'm not sure how me reporting on it is any different than a traditional news media outlet reporting on it.
Well, I mean, I don't think they should necessarily be, running those stories like crazy either. I mean, when it
Right.
happens, but to milk it for so long, I mean, again, all these girls had to do to get famous was go and stab somebody, a
Right.
preteen.
I mean, I think you're kind of projecting. I don't think that there was anything indicating that they were trying to get famous. These are interesting thoughts. I do appreciate you watching the show. I'll take it into consideration. But if people are curious about the topics, they deserve to know about them. And I am here to provide them with that information. All
Okay,
right. So thank you so much
sure,
for
thank you.
calling. And I hope to hear from you again when maybe, you're not quite so upset about the topic. I'm sorry about that. But anyway, that was our show today. I do hope to see you all next week. Please comment below letting me know what topics you would like to see us cover. And have a good week. I'll see you next time. Bye.